Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Black Rose Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because this deck is a really fun deck that just got some new support in the form of Rose Girl and Cross Rose Dragon, which is really exciting. I've actually been waiting to do this deck profile until I got my Rose Girls in, but I actually got all 3 copies of it in not too long ago, and I really wanted to do this deck for you guys. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out that Patreon because we have some really cool rewards for you guys, like getting a signed card, getting your name description of every single video, or even getting requested deck profile every single month that you are a patron. So let's get straight on into this, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of White Rose Dragon. So White Rose Dragon is a really neat card. It has the ability that if it's normal or special summon, you could special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or graveyard, except another copy of itself, which is really cool. And if you control a Dragon Tuner or a Plant Tuner monster, you can special summon it from your hand, which is also really cool because our Red Rose Dragon is a plant, or is a Dragon Tuner. I'm not surprised that they're not plants because they're all dragons, but they could be plants. But if this card is sent from the sent to the graveyard by a synchro material, you can special summon or you can send a level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is always going to be your World Carrot Weight champion because it just gets you more of an extension. Then we're going to be playing 3 copies of Red Rose Dragon. Red Rose Dragon is really a good combo card to go with your White Rose Dragon, because it's basically like a quick 2-card combo that you do with them. But if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or deck, which is really cool because this is not a tuner and this is a tuner. So basically it's like, hey, here's a free Black Rose Dragon just off of normal summoning this, special summoning this, synchroing them together, go for Black Rose, and then special summon a copy of your Blue Rose Dragon, which is super neat. But it also has the ability that if you go into a Plant Synchro or a Black Rose Dragon, that you get to search a Blooming of the Darkest Rose or a Frozen Rose from your deck to your hand, which is super nice to be able to do. 1 copy of Blue Rose Dragon. Blue Rose Dragon, when this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target a Black Rose Dragon or a plant monster in your grave and special summon it. So as you see with this combo, the really neat thing is you just normal summon, special summon, or normal summon, special summon, and then synchro for Black Rose. They'll trigger special summoning this, and then summon this, and then pop this on the field, and then immediately get your Black Rose right back on the field, which is super nice. Then we play 3 copies of Dark Rose Fairy. The Dark Rose Fairy is a card that I never thought I would actually play at 3 in this deck, but I do now. But it's a really neat card that if a tuner monster is special summoned, you get to special summon this card from your hand. She's a good link material, and not only a good link material, but she also has that extra added ability that you can immediately put her back on top of your deck just by using her if she's in the graveyard. If you special summon if this card's in your graveyard, you can send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard and then put her back on top of your deck, which is super helpful to be able to just get her back on top of the deck so you can draw her next turn and use her as another material. Then we play 3 copies of Rose Girl. The Rose Girls are really cool, and this card is insanely good. I'm so glad this card came out because she is so helpful in this deck, because what she does is if a face-up plant monster you control is sent to the graveyard, except during damage step, you can special summon her from your hand, and if a plant monster is on the field and this card's in your grave, you can add her back to your hand once per turn. And you can only use each of her effects once per turn. But she's really helpful in what the deck really needed to be able to just go into so many synchro plays. But she works really well with Dark Rose Fairy because you can just, summon this, and then if she's special summoned, you get to put Dark Rose Fairy on the field. But these two kind of combo together, kind of like how Red Rose and White Rose combo together, which is super helpful. 1 copy of World Carrot Weight Champion. World Carrot Weight Champion is a neat card because if this card's in your graveyard, you can send a plant-type monster from your hand or face it from your field to the graveyard, except another copy of itself, to special summon this card, which is a really good effect to be able to get you more advantage. And having a level 4 monster with a bunch of level 3 tuners says, hey, Black Rose Dragon. Then we play 2 copies of Evil Sworn Mandragora. Evil Sworn Mandragora is an interesting card because it's a good opener that if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card, which is nice because with the copies, it's a plant monster, which is the first plus. The second plus is that it's not like Cyber Dragon that your opponent has to control a monster and you have to control none. It just has to be more than you do, which is super nice. Then we play 3 copies of Lone Fire Blossom, because this is a plant deck. You're going to be summoning a lot of plants in this deck, so Lone Fire just basically grabs you the exact plant that you need when you need it, which is usually going to be your copies of Predaplant Orthoscorpio. Orthoscorpio lets you discard a card or send a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then special summon a Predaplant monster from your deck, which is always going to be your copy of Darling Cobra, which is going to search you a copy of your Instant Fusion, which is going to get you a Sea Monster of Thessalos, which can get you essentially 2 synchro plays off of 1. Because if you have a copy of your Rose Girl in your hand and you summon like Lone Fire Rose Girl, you're going to end up with 2 synchro monsters, which is super cool. 1 copy of Spore, because you can banish a monster from your graveyard or plant monster in your graveyard, special summon this back to your side of the field. And it also has the ability that you can increase its level by the monster that you banished, which is really neat. Copy Plant, because it also level manipulates. It lets you target a plant monster you control, and it has the ability to copy the opponent's, or that plant monster, kind of in the name, that it copies a plant monster, which is super neat. But it's a good needle fiber target to special summon from your hand, because you can just special summon it and get all sorts of different abilities off of it to be able to go into a bunch of different synchro monsters. 1 copy of Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron is essentially the best tuner in the entire game, which is why we play it at 1 in the deck right now, because you basically can just send a if it's in the graveyard, then you could send a card from your hand to the grave and special summon it, which could be a World Caraway Champion, could be a copy of your, Red Rose Dragon, would you normal summon White Rose and then special summon it to your side of the field, but it's a good needle fiber target, which is why I played at 1. Then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. The 3 Ash Blossoms basically just handle all those problems that your opponent's trying to go off with. And it's just really a good card to play as a 3 of in this deck, because you just don't have to deal with your opponent's stuff. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we are going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. 3 copies of Call by the Grave just handle our opponent's hand traps, so we don't have to deal with them at all. And this deck does special summon quite a lot, so you just want to deal with those hand traps, so you don't have to deal with them at all with Call by the Grave. 1 copy of Monster Reborn is just a good extender in this deck. You just makes it so you don't have to deal with a lot of different stuff in this deck, so it's a really helpful card. Or just a good extender, so you just can special summon back your like Rose Dragons and stuff to get more synchro plays, or special summon back a synchro. Foolish Burial, because it can send monsters to the graveyard like your copies of your Red Rose Dragon if you have White Rose in your hand, because you can almost summon White Rose, special summon Red Rose from graveyard. It's just a good card overall. 1 copy of Instant Fusion, which is the only searchable card off of your Predaplants, so that's something to keep in mind. 1 copy of Black Garden. It helps you get Rose tokens on your opponent's side of the field when you summon monsters, and it makes you can use it. It's kind of like a big brain card, 200 IQ card that you have to use in this deck, because it can put tokens on your opponent's side of the field, but every monster that's summoned while it's on the field halves its attack. And you can send this card to the graveyard and all plant monsters that are on the field. And then you get to special summon a monster with less attack points than the monster that was sent to the graveyard, than the plants that were sent to the graveyard. So if you put 3 tokens on the field, then you send it to the graveyard, you can special summon Black Rose from the grave, which is kind of neat. And then we play 3 copies of Frozen Rose. The 3 copies of Frozen Rose come in super handy, because what Frozen Rose does for us is if you normal summon out a Orthoscorpio and you special summon out the Darling Cobra, and you have this card in your hand with a Rose Girl, you can send to the graveyard like a copy of Darling Cobra to trigger this effect, and then special summon out your Rose Girl, which gives you a level 6 Synchro monster, and then a draw 2 discard 1 during the end phase, which can get you some more advantage, which is just really, really, really neat. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. Or trap, because we just played 1, which is a single copy of Blooming of the Darkest Rose. I didn't think I was ever going to play this card, but it's kind of neat because it gives you tokens, because it lets you special summon Rose tokens to your side of the field equal to the number of field spells that are on the field, and then it also lets you banish from the graveyard to target a Black Rose monster or a plant monster in your monster zone, banish it, and if you do, you place this card on the bottom of your deck, and then during the next standby phase, after the monster is banished, you get to special summon that monster. I wish that was a quick effect, because it could save your Black Rose from being targeted or something like that, which is kind of neat, but it's still a good one-of because it's searchable and thins the deck a little bit. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Black Rose Dragon. I know you usually just see 1 copy when you're playing a deck like this. I've seen people play as many as 3. I think 2 is fine with the Moonlight Dragon, because basically when it's summoned, it just board wipes the whole field, and it also has the ability that you can banish a plant monster to reduce a monster on the field's attack to 0. 1 copy of Black Rose Moonlight. Black Rose Moonlight just kind of reminds me of Clearwing. Because if this card is special summoned, you get to target a level 5 or higher monster is special summoned. Then you can target one of those special summoned monsters your opponent controls and return it to the hand, which is kind of neat. It kind of reminds me of like a Compulse version of Clearwing. One copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend because it does destroy a bunch of monsters on the field, and we do have that first ed Ghost Rare, so why not play it? If you've got it, play it. And plus, that's kind of a hint. Red Dragon Archfiend's coming to the channel if it hasn't already by the time of this deck profile, so be on the lookout for that. So keep in mind for that one, guys. So that's a deck that you guys have been requesting, so that will be a deck profile very, very soon, if it's not already on the channel. One copy of Psyframe Lord Omega. Psyframe Lord Omega is a really good card to go into in this deck because you can just rip a card out of your opponent's hand. FA Dawn Dragster because it deals with spells and traps. One copy of Crystal Wing because Crystal Wing is really easy to go into after you use the Dawn Dragster. You just go Crystal Wing Dawn Dragster if you want to deal with monster effects instead of spells and traps. Garden Rose Maiden because Garden Rose Maiden helps us get our Black Garden out of the deck and works really well because you can banish her from the graveyard to special summon a Rose Dragon monster or a Synchro Dragon monster from your graveyard, which is super helpful to be able to go into other plays because you can just summon her and then link her away or Synchro summon her away to go into like Crystal Wing or something like that with like a Rose Girl, and she just is super helpful to go into in this deck. One copy of Queen of Thorns. Queen of Thorns is a card that not a lot of people play in this deck, but it's a really good card with the Predaplant engine because, like I was saying earlier, going into that level 6 Synchro monster, this card takes a tuner and a non-tuner plant monster, and each time a player summons, normal summons or special summons a monster from their hand, they lose 1,000 life points. That's only 8 summons from the hand, and a lot of decks summon from the hand, and even if they go first turn, they just normal summon something and then start going off from the deck, they still lost 1,000 life points. That's a good amount of life points. And plus, if you back your opponent into a corner, then this card can come in super handy. With them only having like 1,000 life points left, and then you summon this, and it's like, oh, I can't normal summon or special summon from the hand. Great. One copy of Trishula. Trishula is really easy to go into this deck because all you have to do with Trishula is go with your Predaplant engine, and then if you have a copy of the Rose Girl in your hand, you can just special summon it with a different effect, and then immediately go for Trishula. If you can get 3 level 3s on the field, you can summon Trishula really easily, or 2 level 4s and a level 1. You can go into Trishula, and it rips 3 cards, which is insane. One copy of Crossroads Dragon. Crossroads Dragon is just 1-up to me. I probably wouldn't play this card any more than 1. But it's a neat card that during your main phase, you contribute it in a plant monster to special summon a Rose Synchro monster or a plant Synchro monster from your extra deck. And then it counts as a Synchro summon. And if this card you control, if a monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card to special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your graveyard, which is kind of helpful to get your Rose Dragon back. You basically just want to load this card into the graveyard to just get you an ability to summon your Black Rose Dragon. Once you Synchro summon it in Blow Field, and if you destroy one of your own cards, and you just get special summon it back on the field, which is kind of nice. It just recurs your Black Rose Dragon. One copy of Boral Sword. Boral Sword's super neat because it can help you OTK in the deck. Crystalline Needle Fiber. Crystalline Needle Fiber is a really good card to get your tuners out. One copy of Aromatherapy Jasmine. Aromatherapy Jasmine just lets you tribute a monster and then special summon a plant monster, which is super cool. And then a single copy of Sea Monster of Thessalos, which is the only instant fusion target that we play in the entire deck, because you can special summon this card and then synchro it away, or link it away for another monster. But basically, it gets you 3 monsters on the field for free, with the copy of Orthoscorpio just by sending 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard. So it's basically like a 1 card to get 3 cards on the field, and you can go with this and a copy of your your Darling Cobra or Orthoscorpio to go into your either Scarlight or Psyframe, and then you can use Rose Girl because you sent a card to the graveyard to go into Queen of Thorns with the other remaining monster if you open up a hand like that. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun deck to play around with. I highly recommend that you guys give this deck a shot. It's kind of a weird deck because it's not an archetype, because you play a lot of monsters that are not an archetype, but it's kind of neat because you play like Rose Plant Dragon, which is neat, and I like that. So anyways, oh, excuse me, I don't have the Ghost Rare on top. Let me put that back on top. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can come for our notification squad. Definitely tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below, and check out the Patreon because we have some awesome rewards for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.